My name's Ronnie. I'm the owner of Wakeful Tattoos in Stouffville. Basic setup, everything's one-time use. Needles, tubes, everything comes pre-packaged, sterilized with ethylene oxide gas. Everything gets a barrier cover, the cord, the bottle. All razors are disposable. Caps are sterilized. Other than that, it's paper towel and bag the machines. Good to go. My mentor who taught me, I worked at his shop in Oshawa for about 4 years, and he wanted to open up another shop. So he wanted to do it together, so we came out here, and this just kind of was the only spot open, so we just kind of winged it, called the guy up. He said, yeah, no problem, you can rent it, and we came in and started painting it. We're open in about a month, so yeah, it was good. Yeah, just kind of flying by the seat of your pants kind of thing for that, so.
Right on. How did you get into tattooing?
Just from doing it as a teenager. So just screwing around, stick and poke, doing garbage tattoos pretty much. Then I kept doing it and I was like, okay, if I'm gonna keep doing it, I should probably learn properly, so I went and got an apprenticeship.
Right on. So was the first tattoo you did on yourself?
Yes.
What was it?
The first one I did on myself was, it's covered up now, but it was a stick and poke, like stupid sort of thing, like skateboard or something.
Do you have a particular style of tattooing that you gravitate towards?
Yeah, more towards old school.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Just as for the audience, just describe what's old school tattooing. What does that entail?
Like traditional tattooing from, like they would call American traditional. So like cowboy stuff and, you know, big bright colors, bold lines, lots of black, roses, skulls, all the old sailor stuff too that you see, anchors, ships, all that sort of thing. Anything in that style. That's kind of what holds a tattoo together. Like that's the basis of like, this is what you want in a tattoo to get it to hold up for your whole life. Done lots of different kinds of art. Like I paint a lot, I do watercolor painting, lots of just like animated line work drawings. That's kind of what I did growing up, was always just like cartoons and stuff like that, which does kind of transfer into old school tattooing a little bit. Bold lines, really simple, just enough to get the message across. So that's kind of the stuff that I work on in my spare time. That's not tattoo artwork.
So why don't you talk to us a little bit about text in tattoo art?
Sure.
Are there some meaningful quotes or sayings that you find it's common people want to get?
Yeah, you know, you get them in phases, right? So whatever's popular at the time, like it used to be live, laugh, love. Sometimes it's this too shall pass, or whatever it is, you know, people will pick up on if it's on Pinterest or whatever. They'll come in and you get a bunch of people wanting it sometimes. Sometimes I'll do the same tattoo for like a month, you know, like periodically, and then it kind of dies off after that. So one thing I was thinking when you first asked me about like the text tattooing and all that, I'm like, there isn't a lot of, I can't say one quote or one phrase or anything that I typically do. For me, it's a lot of names. So mom, dad, kids, husband, wife, and I like doing that, it's cool. It's very important to people, you know, it's usually a loved one or something, or a memorial or whatever. So yeah, I like doing the names. A lot of guys don't like doing the names, especially like husband, wife kind of thing, because they think, oh, well, you know, if you get divorced, then it's a big deal or whatever, but who cares, man, just do it, you know, if that's what you want. Yeah.
One question I had is, as a tattoo artist, it seems like you're both into creating your own art and also helping people realize artwork they have in their head.
For sure.
You know, so as an artist, you're almost a facilitator as well.
100%.
You know, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have always said tattooing is a trade that you have to be good at art to do. I don't look at it like I'm not coming in here every day making art per se, I'm just doing my job. So for me, that is getting whatever's in the customer's head onto paper, make it into a good tattoo. Because what people want is not always going to work as a tattoo. It's not like doing a painting. There's way more limitations. You have to think about longevity, the body. It's not a flat piece of paper. It's a round, organic thing that you're trying to make art on, right? So a lot of things don't convey properly. So that's where the rules come into play. That's why I say it's more of a trade, because you have to know all this stuff to properly design or apply a good tattoo. The art stuff too, it has to come with it, but you can be a good tattooer without being really good at art, in my opinion.
For you, what's the most fun part of being a tattoo artist?
There's lots. Making people happy for sure. Like I love, people leave with a smile on their face, that's great. Otherwise, it's a sweet job. Like it's a hard job, but it's rewarding equally, because nobody's telling me what to do, when to take a break, what to wear, what type of music to listen to, nothing like that. Like I'm doing my own thing. It's for people, but it's pretty relaxed in that way. I can be myself.
And so you mentioned you're also, on top of being a tattoo artist, you're also a musician.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
I play drums and sing for a band called Summons. We're out of Toronto. So 3-piece, 2 guitars, no bass. Yeah, we've been doing that for a while. Me and my best buddy played music together since we were kids.
And do you see any correlation between music and tattooing?
Not at all.
No?
No, not one bit. Because tattooing's my job, I keep other parts of my life separate from that, right? Or if it all gets mixed in together, you end up having a bad time. Because it's work still, right? So there's the huge business aspect to it, especially running the business too. I try and keep it separate from other things I do in my personal life, and that works good for me.
So do you have anything that you'd like to say to somebody who's thinking about being a tattoo artist or has interest in it?
Oh, someone who's thinking about being a tattooer? Oh yeah, just make sure you want to do it. It takes a lot of dedication. It's way more work than anybody thinks it is, and there's so much that goes into it. I always tell apprentices and stuff, like you have to make the sacrifice if you want to do it. It's too important of a thing. You're putting something permanent on people. You can't just kind of half in, half out. You're either tattooing or you're not. I have a really good apprentice right now who is like that, and she's just gung-ho for it. She's working hard, so that's what you want. It's good.
Yeah, I guess from the outside, it seems like that responsibility is pretty heavy in this trade.
For sure, yeah. I think, you have to be held accountable for every tattoo you do. One thing that was always said to me is you're only good as your last tattoo. So, if you wake up hungover and, whatever it is, you don't want to do your job properly that day, that's on you, man. That's your last tattoo. You better be happy with it. Like, you got to do everything. Even if it's tattoo this big or a back piece, you treat it the same way. That's my attitude anyway. As far as being an artist and being able to paint, go, come back, paint some more, it doesn't work like that in tattooing, right? When you're doing a tattoo, you're doing it. For me, the whole aspect of that is all the prep work. I've always said that the prep is the most important part of the tattoo. I do have that opportunity to revisit things on my drawing before the customer sees it, before it's on them, anything like that. So in that part of the process, you have to get everything out, make sure that everything's perfect. From there, you have to stencil it when you're going to put it on the body. That has to be perfect. You want every advantage that I can have before I do the tattoo. That's how things turn out well. It's just preparation, right? And half of that is talking to the customer too, like, is this what you want? Make sure it's what you want. If you don't like this, we can change this, etc. Usually if they give a good rundown of what they want, it's easy for me. I'm like, yep, no problem. I see exactly what you want, we can put it on you. Like I've done it long enough, you can tell kind of what people are after, right? Especially if they give you a good description, so yeah.
Cool, so why don't you talk us just through the process of what you do prior to a sitting. You can show us kind of what the yellow papers are behind you,
Sure.
what function they serve.
Sure. Yeah, all these are, drawings for tattoos or potential tattoos. I like drawing on the canary paper, the yellow paper, just because I find it easier to look at. Also, the consistency to me of the paper is better than the white tracing paper. And I use tracing paper because, you're doing many drafts of this. It's easy to work with that way.
And then how do you get it from the tracing paper onto the skin?
I would just print it out on the computer, and then I use carbon paper, and I can just put the image on that, trace it, it picks up the carbon on the back, and then I can transfer it to the skin, and it will stick. Basically, what I ask for in a consultation is let me know what you want, where it's going on your body, and roughly how big an inch is. That way I can get a good idea. That's more so for giving people an idea of cost and stuff like that, but it gives me a real good idea of what I'm working with, you know. Okay, this is the design you want. Will it work this big? You know, maybe not. Maybe I have to say, well, we'll have to blow it up to this so you can get the amount of detail in there. That's about all I need. People can send reference pictures, either from the internet or books or whatever, and we just take it from there. They give me a pretty good rundown.
So I've seen with a lot of tattooing, and just linking up with, as we were talking about text in tattoo work, that tattoo artists that are responsible for kind of interpreting everybody's text and making it look pretty. People come to you with the meaning, but you've got to draw from a whole bunch of different cultural resources like graffiti or calligraphy, and so understanding all of those different aspects of art in order to be able to service your client. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like
more so related to lettering?
Yeah.
Yeah, so lettering is probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest things to do tattoo-wise. It's really fun if you get good at it, but it's tough because lettering is flat and it's pretty stagnant usually. That's going on a rounded surface of the body. So you have to be careful about where you're placing things. You generally want something on somewhere flatter so that it's legible. You know, somebody's not going to turn your whole arm around to read a Bible verse or something. It just doesn't make sense. So if you want something to look nice, you put it somewhere where it's going to look kind of proper and flat, right? You can get away from that with, like you said, graffiti art and stuff like that. It's a lot more poppin', it has dimension to it. So that kind of stuff, because it's incorporated with a different kind of art, you can get away with different placements and styles that way. But typically what I'm doing, more so like cursive script lettering, yeah, you want that stuff sitting nice and flat. It's got to be super clean. So,
who is your stereotypical tattoo recipient?
Everybody. It's everybody. Yeah, like all ages, different walks of life. Some people are millionaires, some people work at the grocery store. Like, you know, it's everybody. Old people, young people. I have some people who come in every week or 2 weeks to get tattooed. Some people I see once a year, once every few years. It just depends, you know, it's just a revolving door of different people, pretty much. I always kind of say that I'm desensitized as far as tattoo art, customers, anything like that. Like, you've dealt with so much across the board that it's, you know, some things that would surprise other people to me is like normal, right? I can't be shocked at something that, you know, I've seen a bunch of times or that maybe someone else would think is weird, but to me, I've just like, whatever, it's another person or another design, you know. Some people, I show them a picture of something, they're like, why would somebody get that? And I'm like, I don't know, like that's just what they wanted. I didn't even think about that before. It's just like, this is what you want? Cool, like I'll make it the best tattoo possible. That's the goal, right? Everything else is in the blinders. So this is, to me, is like one of the best flash sheets ever. It just has everything and the designs are perfect. They're all simple, just enough black in them to get them to hold up. And I don't know who did it either. It's a mystery. It's apparently super old. My buddy gave it to me. So most customers who come in nowadays want custom work. So not many people pick off the wall anymore, unfortunately, because I would love to do any of that stuff. It's made to tattoo. It's built to tattoo, so doing that stuff is awesome. You can still definitely incorporate elements of that into custom pieces, but most people want something specific. Although nowadays too, with a lot of younger people, the new kind of flash sheets, I would say, is like Pinterest, right? People, it's the same thing as getting something off the wall. Many other people have the opportunity to get that as well. It's the same, you come in with, you know, a picture of a butterfly or something, like you said. A million other people have gotten that, but you still want it just because it's cool, right? It's classic. So. This is an example of realism painting, type of realism that my friend Ed Burwell painted. This stuff up here is like what they call North American tribal. So just blackwork designs that are made to fit the body. A guy named Leo Zaletta made a lot of that famous. These are some more traditional, American traditional old school pieces. I did a couple of these. These are from other artists. That's a repaint of an old fellow named Paul Rogers, wicked tattooer. That piece there with the eagle on it, my buddy and I did a split sheet on that. We both painted that. And a lot of the other stuff is traditional as well. That's mostly what I got on the walls here. Okay. So one of my favorite tattooers is Paul Rogers, old-time tattooer. He's dead now. I just respect what he did for tattooing. Like, he did a lot of wicked flash. He built machines by hand in like a tin shed in Florida, which I find incredible. Like, this, my mentor Craig Kimball, he taught me so much about art. Like, he's a wicked artist. My friend Ned Burwell, also who I met through Craig, he taught me a ton of stuff too. He did some, is still, I think, in the process of writing a 3-book series on the history of Canadian tattooing. So I got to go with him on some of the interviews and ventures he was doing, going to other shops. That was really, did a lot for me in the early years of tattooing. So stuff like that. My friend Barlow too, he tattoos in Oshawa. He's a wicked tattooer. Like, those guys, the 3 of those guys really inspire me tattoo-wise, for sure. Because their work is top-notch. So, you know, you look at their stuff and you're like, oh man, that's wicked. Like, I got to do something like that. So this tattoo I got, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just got to be reliable. My customers rely on me, and that goes for every other aspect of life. You know, friends and family can rely on you. Same as this one, discipline. You know, just got to be disciplined. Go with your gut. Just all stuff that I believe in personally. I got my girlfriend's name down here. My knuckles say "think for yourself." Yeah, I just like getting stuff written on me that holds true to me. You know, I've done tattoos in the past where the lettering is flipped, inverted, so that it's backwards on the people's body. So you're looking in the mirror, you're reading it. It's more like a message to yourself. It can go both ways. Sometimes it's something that you want to show off and it's for everyone else to read as well as yourself. Some things really personal, and maybe you just want it so that you can see it. I'd like to give a thanks to Dan Felishko and the volunteers from the Markham Arts Council for giving me the opportunity to do the interview and for continuing to inspire art in the community. Thanks, guys.